Hey everybody, how you doing? Just been wanting to put together just some thoughts on the 2021 Chicago White Sox, our Chicago White Sox, and just some thoughts now that the first half is over and gearing up for the second half. And actually, it's just kind of typical these days. We're really beyond the halfway point. I mean, we already have 89 wins in the tank, and so it's or 89 wins, 89 games in the tank. So really, only 73 left to play, but. It's the All-Star break, so you just kind of assume you're at the halfway point. But anyway, so just my thoughts on the White Sox so far after the first half. And I mean, as a lifelong White Sox fan, watching this team day in and day out for so many years, it's been an incredible first half, to be honest with you, in a lot of ways. I certainly had my questions going into the season. I certainly thought that this team had the makings of being a World Series champion eventually. My thought had always been last year was kind of that first step of getting there. Then hopefully we would see more progression this coming season. And in my eyes, honestly, I kind of aimed at 2022 as the breakout year, the World Series year, and that could change. We'll see. So we'll get into this a little bit. So again, record at the All-Star break, 54-35, 19 games over 500. And if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that, or even in spring training, that we would put that record together, no Eloy, no Luis Robert, just a multitude of injuries, an Adam Eaton deal that really I thought was a mistake from the beginning. I was pretty vocal on that, and as it turned out, I was correct, and a lot of other White Sox fans were correct as well. Just wasn't a good move by Rick Hahn, but let's be fair, one of the few not good moves by Rick Hahn, and I think Rick Hahn has done a tremendous job with this team and finding guys, finding the Brian Goodwins off the scrap heap to come in and literally be – I mean, Brian Goodwin's our cleanup hitter right now. I mean, no one saw that coming. So there's been just a tremendous amount of positives, and you have to be encouraged now that we're starting to see some rumblings of Eloy getting closer to coming back, Luis Robert eventually going to be coming back, and then we have the trade deadline coming up. So I just think going into the second half, 8-game lead over Cleveland, for the most part, basically just completely pulled away from the Twins. Detroit and Kansas City. I think the Twins obviously being down is the biggest surprise out of everyone in the division. It's good to be a White Sox fan these days. I don't think there's any doubt, and I think there's a lot to look forward to. So talking about as far as the concerns, let's talk the positives here. First of all, starting pitching. I mean, I think everyone that's a Sox fan knew going in, this half had the potential of being pretty special. Rick Hahn, we talked about, trades Dane Dunning and winds up getting Lance Lynn for a year. I know there was some criticism early by the ever pissy, negative White Sox fan base. What are you going to say? I'm one of them, so I can't deny that. But, Dane Dunning, a very good young pitcher on the rise, but Lance Lynn has been everything and more. He's our guy. Vince, my buddy Vince and I, he's our guy. There's no doubt. He is, to me, he's a Southsider through and through. He brings that edge and that mentality. Exactly what this team needed. They needed a workhorse, a guy that'll take the ball every 5 days and give you innings and give you a quality start. The guy's an all-star, and I think should have had to start in the all-star game. I don't want to get into the whole Ohtani thing, but Lance has been one of the best pitchers the entire first half, and he's been a great acquisition. You see the rest of the staff. What's been key is, Giolito has had some issues, which is interesting. He's probably one of the bigger question marks out of a starting staff. So that's a pretty good sign when arguably one of your top starters is, you've been a little questioning him, even though you've got a 54-35 record. But, what is my concern and what's been the strength and a concern going into the second half. Strength in the first half has been the starting pitching and the durability. This staff has been incredibly durable. Knock on would, there's been very little issues with the starting staff, and that needs to continue in the second half. I don't think there's any doubt. You look at the way this team is built. I think this team is different from a lot of other teams in baseball right now, and it's at the strength of the team is the pitching staff. I know you've got teams like Houston and the Yankees that load up offensively, and some of the pitching's good, some of it isn't. I think the Yankees in particular is a team that I just think starting pitching, they haven't been able to figure it out. And I think that's what differentiates us from some others is kind of similar to Cleveland. Cleveland's kind of the same way where you've got the starting pitching. It can be really, really strong, and it can carry you a long way. And I think eventually win a world championship. So we'll see. Starting pitching has been excellent. Player development. Sorry, I've got a little bit of allergy going on. Player development. Amazing. I mean, as a White Sox fan, can you ever remember a time where you saw multiple young guys get called up and have an immediate positive impact? I can't, honestly, at all. From Andrew Vaughn to Gavin Sheets to Jake Berger. There's been some others as well. I know Jimmy Lambert's come out and has been solid. It's been amazing. And again, we've heard nothing but knocks on the White Sox farm system for years, how down it is. Well, something changed because all of a sudden these kids are coming up and they're impact players immediately. And I think that bodes really well. Again, when you've got these guys coming back from injury, you're going to have some hard moves to make, and you're going to have to either send a guy or two or trade a guy or two away that I think you would want to hang on to. And that's a nice problem to have. So the development, I think, has been excellent. Getting a lot of, just up and down the roster, Leroy Garcia, whatever you want to call him, can be very frustrating at times. But when he's hot, he's a really good player. And I still don't think he's an everyday player, but as that super utility guy, I think he can end up sticking with this club and be a much needed fit when you need him. And need him in a crunch, he can do anything. So guy like Billy Hamilton, another guy basically off the scrap heap, comes in, brings energy, brings excitement, and it's been fun to watch. Billy's a fan favorite and should be. So a lot to be really grateful for on that side. It's been a big key to our success. Another thing is resiliency. How resilient is this team this year? They just don't, they haven't gone into long slumps. They haven't, had that 8-9 game losing streak. They've just been able to avoid it. And to me, it's a really good sign of a good team. And that's what this is. It's a good team. I'm excited the fact that we're winning games. We're doing a lot of things well, yet the power isn't even there yet. That's the scary thing about this team. We're not hitting for a lot of home runs in a home run happy home ballpark. I think that's going to continue in the second half. We mentioned Eloy should be coming back. Luis Roberts should be coming back. That changes your lineup considerably. Unfortunately, Nick Madrigal out for the year. I think we'll get into moves in a little bit. I think you'll be able to bring someone in that hopefully can help with hitting for a little more power. Grandal being hurt certainly does not help, especially at the point at the last month where he's really found his bat again. I love my $70 million catcher walking every other at bat, tongue in cheek, but Grandal is started this last month, really started to prove his value again to this team, and hopefully he can bounce back from injury. But again, you look at Zach Collins I think he's greatly improved as a catcher this year defensively. Hopefully the bat comes around. I think we've seen a little bit of hint there, here and there, that he will hit for power, and hopefully the average will follow. You bring up a guy like Zebi Zavala, who's a catcher. You get anything out of him offensively, you're good. But that's baseball. There's not a ton of high average hitting catchers out there. You want a guy that can come in and can catch a good game defensively, do a good job, and that's what this kid does. So again, just very encouraged what's on the roster and all the guys that have stepped up. It's been amazing. So, concerns, issues. Let's start with the manager, Tony La Russa. And again, I was pretty public when they hired him. I didn't understand it. I didn't think it was necessarily a good hire. The first month or so of the season, I don't think anyone would have argued that Tony was not doing a very good job. Kind of screwed up some things. But since then, I give the old guy credit. He's learned. He continues to learn this team, continue to figure out. And that's what I like about La Russa, the thing that he does. He will tweak with some stuff, and he will kind of put people in different spots and mess around and try to find what makes guys tick. And I think as the season is continued, he's gotten better. He's gotten to know his team better. And you know, whether they're winning in spite of him or they're winning because of him, they're winning. And that's what he's here for, and that's what we're here for. And that's exciting. But again, concerned second half. Will Tony be able to pull the right changes, make the right adjustments at the right time, especially in the postseason? Well, you know what? You got to give the guy credit. He's a Hall of Fame manager. He's been in the postseason. He's dealt with that, and he's had a ton of success. So you're counting on your controversial manager to do well in the second half. But that is definitely going to be, I think, has been a positive in the first half. That's going to continue to be, I guess, an issue, a question mark in the second half. We already talked about the durability of the starters. That has to continue. Knock on wood and keep your fingers crossed, but that'll be an absolute key for us in the second half, and especially in the postseason. If guys can stay healthy, continue to take the ball every 5 days. I think the White Sox need to make a move or two or three here at the All-Star break. Love to get a second baseman. Would love to get Adam Frazier again from Pittsburgh. Just not sure what it's going to take to get him, and I don't want to give up a ton, honestly. I think there are ways. There's other people. I think Escobar from Arizona could be a nice get. And let's face it, I think this club is still going to stick with Nick Madrigal as their second baseman, and should, quite honestly. I think Nicky Two Strikes is really starting to come along here just before he got injured. I think started getting comfortable, and he's a different kind of guy. He's an old school, hit for high average, very seldom strikes out kind of guy. And I thought he was a great fit in the lineup. So I think whoever they get for second is going to be more of maybe a 2-month rental. If you do get a guy like Adam Frazier, who's under contract for another year, great. I think he ends up being in a right field for us. Right field continues to be the black hole of the organization. But we'll see. There are some positives to look forward to. Wouldn't mind getting a right fielder if there's one available. And then relief pitching. So the thing about the relief staff has not been a great first half. Hasn't been a terrible first half, but hasn't been a great first half. There's been some issues. Hi, Aaron Bummer. Hi, Evan Marshall. Hi, Jose Ruiz. I can go a couple others if I really needed to. But I think I'll call it the meatball Sox fan doesn't realize, or they do realize and just don't want to admit it. There's not a fan base in baseball or a team in baseball that is ever satisfied and happy with the relief corps. I mean, there's not a team in baseball that is happy how their relievers are doing. Okay, I know the Cubs had a great first half from a bullpen standpoint, but it's a full season, and let's see how the season plays out. But that's one of the few teams that could point to their pen and say, hey, these guys have been great, because they have been great for the Cup. But I'm actually encouraged. I think if the Sox can pick up an arm or two to fill in, Jose Ruiz has had plenty of moments, plenty of chances to step up. He kind of hasn't, and most of the time. Matt Foster, same kind of guy. If you can get a guy or two to fill in, especially right-handed coming out of the bullpen, could think that could be a huge, huge addition at the All-Star break, and something I hope they definitely address. I think you need to do it. But we'll see. it'll be fun. And then getting healthy and staying healthy, I think, is another key. You get Eloy back, you get Robert back, hopefully get Grandal back, get him back, and then the rest of the team. You got to have better luck in the health department because let's face it, it's been absolutely horrible in the first half, which again leads to the fact that I'm still amazed we have an 8-game lead and 54-35 record in the first half. It's absolutely amazing that this team is still hanging around. So final prediction, I'll go conservative here. I'm going to go final record. I'll say 94-68. So I have the Sox basically going 40-33 over the second half. Not great, not terrible. And again, one of the concerns is we have not played well against the really good teams. I mean, obviously Houston, the series in Houston was ugly. The 3-game sweep to the Yankees wasn't great, but people don't realize that was a much closer series than it looked. I think we just ran into the Yankees in New York when they were hot. Ironically, got cold right after the Sox series, but the schedule's much tougher, I think, for the Sox in the second half. So again, going a little conservative, I'm going 40-33 record in the second half. We wind up with 94 wins, so 94-68 record, which I think is fantastic. We'll win the American League Central. I think Cleveland is certainly going to find their path. They're going to get a little bit healthier. It's going to make things interesting. I just think we're going to do the same. We're going to get healthy at the right time, and I think we'll be able to hold off Cleveland. Once you get into the playoffs, it's a crapshoot. It's a brand new season. It all depends on the team that gets hot at the right time. Everybody knows that. It's the truth. So, will the Sox win the World Series this year? Oh, man. Can I have a month and a half and see if we make moves and how things start out here in the second half? I said early, and I'm going to stick to this, and I know my buddy Vince is giving me grief for it. I don't think we win the World Series this year. That was my initial thought. I think the possibilities of this team doing it is there. I hope I'm wrong. I think we wind up getting the American League championship game. I think we could even win the American League pennant, honestly. I just think there's some really good teams over in the National League. I don't know how good of a matchup those would be, but again, things we won't really need to get to until you got to get there first. So I think the Sox get there. I think they get 94 wins. It's been a fun season. It's been fun for the first half and thoroughly enjoyed watching this team, and can't wait for this opening series to start against Houston to see exactly where the Sox are at. I don't think it's a be-all, end-all, but you definitely, I think, want to see the White Sox come out and at least be much more competitive against Houston to start the second half than we saw against them in the first half. So, hey, go Sox. See you, everybody.